Okay, so we've got the solution here on the floor, working it with the machine to loosen up all of the dirt as much as possible. We go in slow motions from side to side so that we keep an even pattern going. Once we finish with the whole area of the floor, then we're going to come back by and we're going to mop all this solution up, rinsing the floor. And then after once the floor has been rinsed and is completely dry, we will put down a wax on top of it, a floor finish, to give it a protectant coat. So now you'll see we've got like this section right here completely done. So we're going to stop the machine for a minute. Going to start mopping the solution up. And when you're working in small spaces, you want to be careful not to hit ceilings or ceiling fans. Always pay attention to your surroundings. Kind of go along the edges really well first, picking up all of the dirt that's along the edges. And once you get the edges, just start doing a figure-8 motion like this, back and forth. As you start leaving streaks on the floor, that means it's time to rinse the mop. And when you get water that builds up along the edges like that, you just want to kind of give it a little extra tension. Make sure you're getting it up really well. So I'll absorb that, then I'll rinse it out the mop again and wring it out really well. So that way the water does not build up along the edges. You can already see how dirty the water is starting to get, and it was completely clear when we started this. I've only dipped it maybe 2 or 3 times so far. One thing when you're doing a floor for the stripping and waxing, you will change your clean water out a lot. Alright, so you keep going back and forth over the floor, getting up all the residue. I'm kind of overlapping where I haven't cleaned yet, so I'm going to stay over here where I have scrubbed. Okay, now we're gonna, you can see the section from like here over. We're gonna let it dry. I'm gonna continue on with the floor, cleaning all of the rest of the floor here, all the way down over into that area. Once we are finished completely with the cleaning of it, then we'll start putting the wax down, and I'll come back and do some more video at that point. Okay, now we're gonna start putting down the wax on the floor. You put the mop in the wax, which is in the bucket here. Make sure you dip it so it's on both sides. Lift it up slowly, not to splash it out. You want to do a slight ring, don't wring it out fully. A little bit of a ring. Bring it up so the tip is over the bucket, and wring that part out a little better. So you want no dripping coming off the mop head. So you start off by doing borders around the room, around the section you're going to do. Make a little border on the outside. And you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself, so you do a small section at a time. Now what I'll do is I like to split a piece in half so you're not taking big wide swings. Keep your mop nice and even as you do it. Now you come back, start over at the very beginning here, and you do figure 8s. Just like making a number 8, but with the mop head. And you do this, and as the mop goes along, flip it over once, continue on, Try to make sure you do nice even strokes so you don't miss anything or leave any gaps in the spacing. And try not to stretch it out too thin either. Redip frequently so you get a nice even coat of wax on the floor. Wringing it out again, a little bit of a wring, lift it up so you get a tip, wring the tip out really well so it doesn't drip at all. And I already made the border and I went down halfway here, so all we have to do is a border on this side. Push the bucket back so it's not in our way. And you can see how it's a little thick and milkier there. That's should have wrung it out just a little bit better, so we'll just go over this again with the mop a little bit like that. Absorb it up. Find where our line is that we want to overlap. Do a nice figure 8 again. All the way back down the line. And you noticed how earlier how the floor was before we cleaned it, how dirty it was and everything, and you can see we've already put down a coat of wax so far. We're going to do 4 coats of wax on this, so you'll see the finished product. As we do it, it'll get shinier and shinier. I'll pull this bucket back. You can see the difference in the line, how where we did previously and where we just did, and you can see it's wet. When we're done though, it's still going to have a wet look to it. We're using a wax that has 25% solids, which is the most solid you can find in a floor finish.